Hello, this is Madan. In the previous video, we added a one-to-many relationship between our pet and the application user class, and this video is the continuation of our previous video. And after we added the relationship and made the foreign key in the user ID in the pet class a required field, we cannot create the pet without the user ID. And so when we try to create the pet without the user ID, then we get the error message. So in this demo, we are going to fix that error. So at first, you might be wondering from where the user ID is coming. So user ID will be coming from the logged in user. So what we can do is, if we navigate to the pet/new, then we get the new form to create the pet, but we need the user ID to create the pet. So let's don't allow the user to create the pet without logging in. So in order to do that, what we can do is we can go over to our pet controller, and in our new method here after http get, what we can do is we can use the another attribute called authorize. So authorize, and let's bring in the required namespace. And also in the post method, we can add the attribute called authorize, and this authorize is in the namespace Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.Authorization. And with this, our user cannot get the new form to create the pet without being logged in. So let's try to go to the new form here, and now at this point of time, when we try to go to the new form, then we are redirected back to the login page. So let's try this again. Let's go to this last pet. We can see our list of the pairs, and when we try to bring in the new form, then we are redirected back to the logged in page. So let's create a new user here and then log in. So register a new user. Let's say test@gmail.com and give it a super strong password. And we have successfully registered the new user and logged in as a new user. So now when we create the pet, then the user ID is the ID of the currently logged in user. So at this point of time, when we try to create the pet, let's say new pet, then we still get the error because we are successfully logged in, and we got the new form to create the pet, but we haven't provided the user ID to our pet model in the new method of the controller. So let's try to add this pet, and we still get the error, but at this point of time we have a user ID that we can pass to the pet model from our controller. So let's go to our pet controller, and in order to get the ID of the currently logged in user, we can use the another class called user manager. So let's bring in user manager and pass it the type of user that we are dealing with, application user manager. And this user manager is in the namespace ASP.NET Core.Identity. Now in order to use that user manager, we need to inject that inside our constructor. So let's inject user manager of type application user manager, and let's store this user manager into our private field user manager. So user manager equal to user manager. Now once we store the user manager that is injected by the framework at the runtime, we can use that user manager into our entire class. So let's head over to our new method, and before creating the pet, we get the pet data for the pet from the view, but we don't the view doesn't provide the user ID. So here is no place to provide the user ID, but we are getting user ID from user manager and adding that user ID to our pet model coming from the view. So here, before creating the pet, what we can do is we can do pet dot user ID equal to user ID. Oops, sorry, user ID. And we don't have this user ID, so let's define and bring in the user ID variable. User ID equal to, now we have a user manager, and it has a method called get user ID, and it requires the http context that user, and this http context that user is provided by the framework during runtime. So this will give our currently logged in user ID, and we have added this user ID to our pet. Now at this point of time, if we run our application, then we should be able to create our pet with the user ID, and that user ID is the ID of the currently logged in user. So in our site now, the user can register, log in, and create their own pet. So let's try to add a pet. Let's say cat, give it an age of 1 and color black, and let's save it. And at this time we have successfully created our pet. So let's head over to our database, and if we do select star from pairs, then we see that we have successfully added our pet with the ID of the currently logged in user. So at this point, if we log out and let's register a new user, let's try test1 dot test1 at the rate gmail.com, password it looks like test1 at the rate gmail.com already exists. So let's just log in with test1.gmail.com, test1 at the rate gmail.com password. And now let's create a pet /new dog, age up to, color black. Let's save it. And we have two pairs now, but these two pairs belongs to two different user. If we head over to the database and select star from pet, now the user ID of the cat is different than the user ID of the dog. So now in our application, any number of user can register, log in, and create their own pet. And this is the end of this demo, and we will continue working on our MVC demo project in another video series. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.